I chose to work for Friends of the Children Chicago because previously I worked in juvenile detention, and I worked with young men who were charged as adults for their crimes. So I saw a lot of young boys, 15, 16 years old, getting 10, 20 years in prison for different crimes. And I also noticed that a lot of my kids used to tell me if I had somebody that could help me before I got here, if I had something to do, if I had a job. It was so many things that could have been done for them before they got to detention that just wasn't done. I come from a culture that's like, it takes a village to raise a kid. So, and I think we've gotten away from having that village. And I think Friends of the Children kind of brings that back because we start with the kids so young where we can have an impact.
The thing I love most about the kids I work with is probably their resilience, because the narrative outside of their community is that their community is bad, less than, violent, etc. But when you work with these kids and you interact with them, you see their smiles and their happiness and their energy, and it's as if the things that they're going through aren't impossible, if that makes sense. But essentially, they're just able to overcome and reflect the resilience that I think is beautiful.
I love the fact that you look at these kids and you see the background that they're from and the things that they're dealing with. And for me, I know if it was me in their situation, I'd be done. I'd be like, I can't handle it. But you see that these kids still have a smile on their face. They still are kids they love. They have a lot of energy and they want to do good. They want positive things in their lives. And so these are some of the things that I love about the kids that we're currently working with. One of the things that I love to do with the kids is explore Chicago. Oftentimes we have these kids that think that Chicago is Austin area, the neighborhood that they grew up in. But I love showing the kids that Chicago is huge and it's one of the greatest cities to live in.
I try to do things that they like doing, but I also try to expose them to new things and get them out of their environment. It's always good to teach them how to survive and navigate their environment, but it's even better to take them out of that situation and expose them to things that they might not be exposed to living in that community. So one of my outings, we actually took our kids to the Little Red Schoolhouse. It's further out. It was just fun for them, and to see them just be free and be in an environment where they didn't feel like they had to look over their shoulder or they're worried about what's going on outside. It's like they were so free and they loved going on the hike.
Some of the changes that I've seen in my youth since they've started our program is just a spike in their confidence. I have some kids who have been struggling academically, and I think just having somebody to sit with them and just read a book from beginning to end and just cheer them on the whole time with no pressure and no getting upset if they stumble on a word, has just been really rewarding.
I've learned that you have to empower the youth and not enable them. And empowering can literally lead a youth to whatever it is that they want to become. What makes Friends of the Children different from other programs in Chicago is that we're not just in school with these kids. We are at home with them, we're in the communities, and we're in the schools as well.
Since I started working with all of my kids, I've noticed that some of my kids are able to identify what emotions they're feeling, and I've also been able to see their interaction with their parents has improved tremendously.
What I think sets Friends of the Children apart from different organizations that I've worked with, I've been a mentor before. The biggest thing is starting in kindergarten. When I was a mentor before, we started in middle school, high school, so they're already kind of set in their ways, and you're kind of like trying to figure out where you fit in with them. As with Friends of the Children, we're starting in kindergarten, we're building that relationship, and we're actually following them until they graduate high school. A lot of these kids come from situations where they might feel abandoned, and if you have a consistent mentor that's actually going to be there with them, whether they do right or wrong, and you're never going to judge them or walk away from them because of what they're doing, that makes them feel safe. And when you feel safe, you're able to grow and accomplish things that you should accomplish because you feel like you have that support. And you get to see that kid flourish. Like, you get to see the progress. You get to see them grow. And that's something that you can't get anywhere else.